So music's been a massive part of the chapel and the space. Originally when it was designed, the space was to be able to amplify. As a result, there's always been choirs and it's always been like really kind of focal music within the chapel. And I think, over the last 25 years, artists have looked to kind of use that space. It's an opportunity to see an artist do something different. They normally come in and they strip everything back because, again, we go back to the design and how it's amplified. Yeah, it really is sort of like a magical setting to be able to come and see artists and be able to hear music. We've had such an array of artists come through the chapel who've then obviously gone on to much bigger success. Most recently was Laura Marling, so she'd done some of the very first shows here. To hear her speak about that and come back sort of like, 8 or 9 years later, and she speaks about the chapel so warmly, and it's the same with every artist really. If you stand in the chapel at 2 p.m, when the artist loads in for the first time, you can just see, as they come in, they're just like, wow. And I think, that's why we won sort of like the best venue through Time Out in 2 consecutive years from 2013 to 14. We have quite a lot of homegrown talent in the chapel. A lot of people who work within the chapel as stewards or volunteers or on the bar obviously have like musical projects going on, or they're artists. This kind of helps subsidise what they're trying to achieve, and they're able to surround themselves in an environment where they're meeting new people. You're having a lot of artists sort of like coming through, managers, agents, promoters, and obviously we had Luke Sing worked here, and obviously now I think he's gone on to, I think he's on his 3rd album now. It was so nice to see him leave the space and then return and play a sold-out show to 900 people and still have that relationship, and that the chapel is so special to him, and now obviously he's now working with us as a cultural ambassador, so that's really exciting. We've had a number of artists do albums here. Obviously Luke recorded an album here, Amy Winehouse as well. There's a couple of tracks that have featured from the chapel on her album. Billy Bragg as well has recorded a live album here, and then we've also had artists who've come in and done a lot of pre-production for albums here, not recorded live, most recently Madness. We've had a number of festivals take place within the chapel. Obviously the Big Chill was founded in the Sunday School Hall, which was a seminal festival in the 90s, and then most recently we've had Rebalance come in and do an event early this year, and that was aimed at getting 16 to 25-year-old females who are interested in being involved in the industry, sort of like production or agents, managers, or as an artist, and getting connections. So that was exciting. And then we do sort of like film festivals as well. Most notably, Banff will do several runs with us each year. And obviously we've got Organ Reframed as well. We have, on average, about 4 or 5 events per week, and yearly we look to host somewhere between 170 to 200 events per year. And we do that by collaborating with promoters who get in contact with us about artists who want to play the chapel, which we then review and make sure they're kind of suitable for the space. But also we're now looking at our own events and how we program them, and that's obviously an ongoing process which is really, really exciting. But what it enables us to do is have a closer working relationship with artists and work with them at a very early stage in their career and bring them through the chapel. So it's not only music that the venue's used for, it's used for lots of other events across the day and the evening. We have quite a lot of space hires come in for a lot of productions that might be running in the West End, and then obviously we have a lot of events here in the bar itself. So we have meditation, Vaughan, our minister, does a regular jazz night. We've had comedy in the bar, we've had a curry night here as well to raise money. So obviously during COVID we've had to shut as a venue, and we're unable to do commercial events currently. So then we began to look at other events that we could do, and one of the things that we've explored was obviously live streaming, and we're very lucky to have Laura Marling come in and put on that performance. Normally we'd sell sort of like 900 tickets for an event. That's our capacity, but for this we sold 6,000 tickets, and obviously it's exciting that we're able to do these events, and that people are willing to buy a ticket to be able to see something they're not actually able to sort of like physically attend. And I do feel like now live streaming is very much here to stay. I think once we're reopened as a venue, I would not be surprised that we're going to have a lot more events that we sell physical tickets for, but then it also gives us an opportunity for people who might not be able to come to an event for various reasons, that they can still purchase a ticket and they're able to watch it from the comfort of their home. It's really exciting to work at Union Chapel, being able to kind of finish your day job every night and then just walk out of the office and walk into the chapel and just see amazing artists perform in that space. It really is like a privilege to be able to do that. And it's everything else within the space as well, positive effect that it has on the local community. It was only the other day that I was outside the front of the chapel and I saw a gentleman just sat there eating his fish and chips, and we started having a conversation. And during the conversation, he told me about his addiction and how much the chapel helped him, and that he used to come to the chapel to get help and support and food at a time that he was really struggling with in his life. And now he was telling me that he comes back to see shows within the space and how much the chapel, how dearly he holds it, and how big an impact that had on him in his life. And it was a really humbling experience just hearing that from someone.